All right, guys. So this is 3-4 equation of a line. I'm going to go over kind of one problem from each section. So first thing you need to know, there are a few ways that we can write the equation of a line. We have slope-intercept. This is probably the most common, the one that you guys have seen the most. We're not going to be using that much on this worksheet, but that's one of them. Then you have what's called point slope, which is like this. Where you have the slope and then an XY coordinate or a point, right? And the last one is called standard form. This is probably one that you have the least work with practice. So standard form looks like this. Standard form is not used a ton, but it is a way for us to write the equation of a line. It goes along with polynomial standard form, so it is used. And we are going to be mostly using point slope and standard form for what we're doing today, but you do need to know slope-intercept form as well. Okay, so question 5 asks us to write the equation of the line that passes through this point with this slope. Well, I have a point and I have a slope, so naturally I can use point slope to write the equation of my line. This will be my x1, this will be my y1, and this will be my m. So those are going to be the numbers that I put in there. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this. Notice that it's subtraction in the equation and my x1 is a negative. So I'm doing minus a -2. Remember, we can always change that to just be a plus. I'll make it a little bit easier for us. So our goal is to change this into standard form. So we're going to have to take this and perform a little bit of algebra to make that happen. So I'm going to start by, I need to get rid of this fraction. I can either distribute it in, or I could multiply by 4 on both sides to get rid of it. Multiplying by 4 is probably the easiest way to go. So I'm going to multiply this side of my equation by 4. And I'll multiply this side of my equation by 4. The 1/4 and the 4 will cancel each other out. And on the left side, which you can't quite see, I will have 4y minus 8 after I distribute that. So, equation is quite a bit simpler already. To get it in standard form, there's just a little bit more to do. I need to move this x over, and I need to move this 8 over. So to get rid of this 8, that's going to be a pretty easy one. I'm going to add 8. I'll add it to the like term on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and subtract an x. Since I don't have any x that I need to move anywhere, I'm going to subtract it here at the beginning of this equation, because in standard form, the x term goes first. So I'll end up with negative x plus 4y equals 2 plus 8 is 10. Almost did that right. Now it's on the screen. So negative x plus 4y equals 10, and that's our answer. That's standard form. All right. Next set of problems, we're giving you 2 points, and you had to write the equation of a line that passed through these 2 points. And again, we want to write our answer, our final answer, in standard form. So I'm going to use the slope equation, which again, if you're not familiar with it, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. These are my 2 points. This one we'll call x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm just going to kind of quickly plug these things in here and get going. Lucky for us, these actually have a common denominator already on the top and bottom, so we're going to be able to just put this together. So 3 over 2 minus a negative 1 over 2 is really just sending us plus. So that's going to be 4 over 2, which is 2. And here we are going to get 3 over 3. Well, lucky again for us, both of these fractions simplify nicely. We end up with 2 over 1, which is just 2. So our slope is going to be 2. Might as well put the equal signs here. So our slope is going to be 2. And then we get to pick one of these 2 points to use in our equation. Why don't I just go ahead and go with this point and then that slope that I just found out. Okay. And I'm using point slope form to write this equation. So I have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now, since this isn't a fraction, I'm going to just go ahead and distribute it. If it was a fraction, I'd probably multiply both sides by the reciprocal or by at least the denominator, get rid of that. But it's a nice whole number. So we have y plus a half equals 2x minus 2/3. All right. One little thing here, because of the fractions in standard form, we don't want to have fractions in there. So what we're going to be doing here is getting rid of that denominator. So I need to find a LCD between 2 and 3. So that's going to be 6. I'll multiply everything by 6. All right, 6 times 3, y is 6y. 6 times a half is going to be 3. 6 times 2x is going to be 12x. And 6 times 2/3, that's going to be 4. So it'll be minus 4. And last step is just to kind of move things around to get it in that final standard form. So let me move this x out over here and move that number here. So I'm going minus 3. And I'm going to subtract 12x. And since I don't have a like term for it, I know in standard form means go out front. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out front. Okay, what do we end up with? We end up with negative 12x plus 6y. It's all on this side. And then negative 4, negative 3, that is going to be negative 7. So that's our final answer for that one. And then the last problem here, we are supposed to take this point and this equation of a line and try to write the equation of a line that is parallel to this, going through that point, and an equation of a line that's perpendicular to this, going through that point. And again, I believe our answers are supposed to be in standard form. Yeah, so, all right. Well, in order for us to know, to start off here, parallel, we're going to need to use the same slope. So I need to figure out what the slope of this line. And so standard form is like this. There's actually kind of a shortcut you can do that always lets you figure out the slope from standard form. Your slope is going to be negative a over b. So in this case, negative 2 over 7. So that's going to be the slope of that line. That's kind of a shortcut way you can do it. You could also convert this into y equals mx plus b format, slope-intercept format, and get your slope that way. Should come up with the same thing though. All right, so now we have a slope. This is going to be my parallel slope. And my perpendicular slope is going to be 7 over 2. That's going to be my perpendicular slope. The slope of perpendicular lines are always opposite reciprocals. So this one is negative, and then the perpendicular one is going to be positive. And reciprocal means we take our fraction and we just flip it. 2 over 7 became 7 over 2. All right, so I'm going to have to write 2 equations to fully answer this question, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. This will be my point that I use. So for the parallel equation, I'll do that one first. I'm going to go ahead and start plugging things in there. It's y minus -3. My slope, -2 over 7 times x minus 2. All right, because I have a little fraction here, I want to get rid of that. I need to multiply by the denominator on both sides, so multiply by 7. Multiply by 7. So that's going to get rid of our denominator over here. Nice and easy. And we end up with 7y, this becomes really plus, so 7y plus 21 equals, I'm going to go ahead and distribute this -2 in here, just to save myself a little extra step. -2x plus 4. Okay, and with a little rearranging, I end up in standard form, so 2x plus 7y equals -17. So that's the first one in standard form. That's our parallel in standard form. And just to organize this a little bit, we will do the perpendicular one right here. So this one will be perpendicular. So different slope this time, 7 over 2, but the rest of it exactly the same. So y minus -3 equals 7 over 2 times x minus 2. Now, we need to multiply both sides by that denominator, so that gets rid of that. Multiply this by 2. Again, got to do it to both sides. Minus and negative is just plus, and now we start distributing. 2y plus 6 equals 7x minus 14. And again, a little bit of algebra rearranging things. I end up with -7x plus 2y equals -20. That is our perpendicular equation. Hope that helped. Please let me know if you have any further questions.